So now we're back. So let's see. So I think I already went over the start. I won't repeat everything now. Just a brief idea behind what I said. Yeah, so as I said, this engineer should go for maxes. Like this set should have been the first engineer, and then probably a second one to this expansion. Then this tank movement is fine. Even though I would have probably gone somewhere here, because I think this expansion, because I think this expansion is more important than this one. But okay. And this tank should have moved like this. And yeah, okay, no, that's fine. You want to reclaim those rocks, but don't have the APM, that's fine. And also, yeah, now you're overflowing power, so just don't build those pigeons and go instantly for an air factory. Probably like here, so you don't have to walk. Those engines could have assisted your ACU, so you can scale up your factories faster. And what I see is that you're having a heavy focus of unit stream. Like if you select all land units, you see that all your units are moving to this direction, but this is your main expansion. Like there is not a single tank defending your main expansion. What do you mean by high ground is difficult to capture? You mean this one? So you sent your tank here because it isn't as easy to replace as this one, for example? Yeah, probably, but you can't just walk over there, so the distance is more or less the same. But here are more maxes to gain and more map control. And yeah, you're overflowing quite a lot of mass. And this is fine. This is fine if you do it in map gen and team games. But it isn't fine in 1v1. In 1v1 you want to make pigeons in a good ratio to your land factories and air factories. So you want to have one one pigeon for one land factory and 3 pigeons for one air factory. And you want to build them together. So you have, for example, this NG clump, and then you queue up one pigeon, one factory, one pigeon, one factory. You don't want to have one clump building only factories and one clump only building pigeons, because that's way harder to balance than just having so 2 different clumps of engineers. And yeah, so your scaling is very slow because you overflow so much. Like you need way more factories by now, and that's also because you've wasted a lot of time building pigeons. Yeah, right. So you probably will need 4, right? Yeah, that's right. I mean, this needs 80. Yeah. So 3 to 4 is the right amount. Depends also on the stage of the game and how much you're already overflowing. But you see, you've wasted a lot of build power on building pigeons you don't need, and that leads to the fact that you don't spend your build power on making more build power in form of factories. So you're overflowing not only power now, but you're overflowing also mass, because you just didn't have the build power on building more build power. That's the problem here. That's why your eco balance is cooked here. And also, either you go first bomber, either you go second air factory and then first bomber, or you secure the air win first. Because what you're doing now is basically just wasting a bomber and losing air for that. Because you were just ahead and now his second inti came out, but you don't have a second inti but a bomber. So this bomber gets just shot down and you will behind on the you will be behind on air. So that's not a good move. And if we look, like here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nearly 6, 7 factories. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 factories. So you see already that he scaled his factories way quicker. Let's see how his power back. Okay, so he's under build power. Especially on a map where you have so much access to reclaim, like everywhere are wrecks or trees or rocks, like everywhere. You really want to build power. I mean, you did that, but not really to the right time. Or if you do that, you should have gone for a second edgy factory and then rush Tech 2 with all that mess you could have had. Because now you're quite far behind on units, and now you're gonna lose your expansions, and this gonna snowball. And yeah. And also in this situation, yes, you don't have like you really need to start making more you need to start spending your mass. Like all those engineers could build factories. So yeah. Also, like on those high reclaim maps, even though it's not really high reclaim, you could have gone for 2 engineer factories. That would be legit to do. Now this is a good time to farm an inti kill to get what is this PD template? Just make something like this, like just one line around that. That's enough. You don't want to deny the whole Aurora range with walls. And at this point, I would probably go already Tech 2. Like you have so much mass. Like go Tech 2 and then you can secure all that again. But I think you're already so far behind on Tech 1. I don't know. I think Tech 2 would be a correct play. And like you could also make here a PD, so you at least secure this area. Why do you like this template? It's just wasting build time. It doesn't really, especially when you're fighting versus an ACU, you can just reclaim those walls in like 1 second. Well, this is a really bad place to park your ACU. But you, because of this early fucked up scaling, and now you stopped building pigeons at some point, and then you started to stall. So your early factory scaling was bad because you just make a random line of pigeons instead of adjusting the pigeons to the factory count. And now this leads to you losing all your expansions. Like you lose this expansion probably. This expansion doesn't look good, and this is already lost. Because you overbuild power and you underbuild factories. He could have just reclaimed the factory or captured it. Yeah, and as I said, you should go early at Tech 2. Like you can easily afford that. You're on 65 mass income. You can easily afford Tech 2. And especially as UEF, pillars are very cheap, so you can go as UEF surely earlier Tech 2 compared to Seraphim. Also those tanks, like they could already raid all those mixes. And yeah, the RT would be... Yeah, okay, yeah, the RT is a right play here. And I don't know why you have all those labs in the unit mix. Go only for tanks. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to say, you know what a good eco balance looks like, right? So yeah, you have a lot of factories idle here. But yeah, I don't know why you delay that the Tech 2 stage so much. I think you're too focused around monkey spam. But look at your eco. You could have used this eco so much better. If you would just went pillars, like look, he's literally donating all his units to you. Imagine having there like 4 pillars. They would have easily crushed all of this. And also on such a map, a gun ACU is always very helpful, because this ACU doesn't have to cover a large area, right? You basically only have to cover this area with the gun ACU, and that's really good for it. And if you would have gone for a Tech 2 upgrade, you could have made a Tech 2 pigeon and then rushed that upgrade and probably nano. So, and then this would be a very good ACU. And don't forget to make a unit target priority. You want to shoot, like you want to reduce the DPS of the enemy army as fast as possible. And you do that by killing the tanks around it instead of the ACU. Now you shouldn't overexpand, because at this point it's just a mass donation. Just keep that territory, start building factories for engineers, and get this territory, get all the reclaim. And also you can make here a radar, so you have covered this expansion, and you can also make like here a radar, and then you have way better vision than currently. Oh, you have here a radar, but of course if you see the units already coming here, it's easier to defend. It counted ACU as land unit. Yeah, okay. So you might want to change that in the future. And now you going for Tech 2 HQ here. Does anyone ever Tech 2 engineer here around? No, sadly not. But I'm very sure you can easily snipe that. Like if you place a TML like here or something, you can easily snipe that. So you want to make your HQ in a safe position. Yes, you had a lot of build power here, but that's probably already the mistake. Like you want to have more build power in your base. And then you can make your HQ also in the safe location, because a support factory needs basically no time. Like 1 minute without any assistance. That's like with 20 build power, that's 4 engineers, and you were on 30 seconds build time. So that's basically no build time at all, and it's much safer because now it can be easily sniped. And your unit split is also not so good. You move all your units into the middle, and then you're very free on the outsides. Like you have here 3 tanks versus a big amount of tanks, and here you have 4 tanks. So, and here you have 60 tanks. So you want to be better splitted. Yes. Well, or basically what you want to do is you want to be on some sides greedy as possible without losing your expansion, and then you want to focus on one side. But here you're currently losing your expansion, so you went here with 2 less tanks, and also here should have been more tanks. Okay, now you're going for a gun upgrade. I think you should go probably for a Tech 2 Pigeon first. Especially if you would have all those expansions and all those reclaim and you would get it, you would really need that Tech 2 Pigeon. But because you're not reclaiming good enough, you don't need the Tech 2 Pigeon at the moment. But you should need it. He's also going for gun ICU. Yeah, you should pause some factories here to not power stall. I mean, you're making the bombers to a good use, but the problem is, like, he doesn't have any mobile anti-air, and then is wondering why all his units die. So this usually won't work. I mean, it's good that it works now, but usually it won't work. Where are your inties? Did you suicide? Here are lying a lot of UEF inties. Please don't suicide all your inties over this flag. Wait, was your waypoint here? And the flag is here? I won't comment that. Yeah, you probably want to have your inties first in a safe location. Because he surely gets his expansion way better than you. Yeah, I assume you're gonna die here. But this game is surely, in a sense, like, kill that engineer before the PD gets. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you lost all air here. Okay, so you managed to kill him, but usually you should have lost. So yeah, the biggest problem is just not securing your expansions enough and having a really bad equivalence. Actually, you overflowed all the time power, and you overflowed all the time mass. That was the biggest problem. And yeah, you didn't get the reclaim well either. So make your pigeons according to the factory number, and then you can actually secure your expansions way better. And then you should have gone earlier Tech 2. Like you had all the eco for that, even though you didn't got this expansion. You got the eco for going Tech 2. So with that expansion, you could have gone way earlier for Tech 2. Especially as UAF, as I said. So let's see. I have another replay. Let me get that real quick. I think the vault is still a bit buggy, the replay vault. So let me check this one out. So this is from the U1100 tournament. We've already watched the beginning, but I want to analyze it now more in depth. So you have a lot of expansion to the right, so you're very vulnerable here, and you have a lot of mass in the middle. So what you want to do is basically move your ACU early to this reclaim field to secure it, and move a lot of units to secure your own expansion. But I mean, this is a disadvantage. You're easily raidable on this area, but that's also your advantage because he's in the same situation. So you want to abuse the fact that he's so raidable here. You could go for early labs, like 1 or 2 labs, and sending them here and kill some engineers. But you could also go for some, you dispatch just like 3 tanks or something, and then you drop here, like with engineers, and then you can spam up a proxy real fast. And that's really good because then you deny him a lot of expansion and a lot of territory, a lot of map control and a lot of maxes, while being in a situation where you can secure this better usually, because you only send 3 tanks here, and then you have the whole tanks to the other expansion. Also on such high reclaim maps you always want to build 2 factories, because when you have a lot of mass, the only bottleneck is power and build power. And for the power you need, and to build power you need build power. So 2 factories are here absolutely necessary. Otherwise you will never be able to spend all the mass you get from the middle. So you're going here for 3, no, okay. This is fine to expand here. But this is a problem. So this ACU and this engineer, they both should build 2 pigeons and then a land factory. Otherwise you scale up your factories too slow, and then you have less spam than the opponent, and you're gonna lose your expansions here. I wonder what your opponent... Yeah, your opponent is doing it better actually. I mean, he's not doing it correct, but he's doing it better. And now you see, you started earlier the factory, but he's already on half the like he's overtaking you. He's probably gonna have his factory earlier than you, even though you started way earlier. Yeah, basically the same timing, but now the scaling will ease, okay, if he would have done it correctly. But usually your scaling would be already behind. And also, why do you send this tank here? There's no real point in sending the tank here. Send the tank with your engineer together to protect it. You just want to protect this expansion here, basically, because there's nothing to raid. Like, yes, maybe one engineer reclaiming or something, but it's way more efficient to just secure your own expansion and then raid in this area. To raid this area is way more valuable than raiding this. Because now you see you're too slow to react to it. If you would have your tanks here, this raid wouldn't have couldn't kill anything. And if you see something like that, don't try to run behind it. You will never catch it. Like, especially first it's only a scout, but second, you're not faster than the other tank. So don't run behind it, try to raid the enemy instead. Because you will never catch up anyway. And if you can't catch up, why following it? Just let a reinforcement go there and hope that they catch it instead of your own tanks, because your own tanks could get here massive value and when they're raiding, like those back maxes, this engineer, like they could get big value, but this one land scout denying all the value they could get, or the potential value. Also, you don't want to split up your build power so early. Keep your build power together. And now you see the problem with what I meant with factory scaling. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 land factories. You have 2. And he has, okay, no, he started the air factory. So he's basically 2 factories already ahead. You will never catch up, you will never keep up with the unit count, because he is just so much better early scaling. You're overflowing quite some mass. Your expansion is actually way better, but you could have also gone for some more engineers. And this early factory also should only go for engineers. You overbuild tanks on this first factory. What you should have done instead is going for more engineers. And if you go for more engineers, you have earlier factories, and these earlier factories, they can build tanks. And your ACU stays way too long in the base. Like, you want to find... What your ACU should do is go here, and engineers should go here. Because this is only 2 engineers worth, this ACU. It has a build power of 2 engineers. But if you're going here, you can first get the value of the gun, but also you can reclaim all the wrecks without running into the problem that an engineer might die. Like, an engineer is very fast dead versus a tank, but ACU don't die versus a tank. So what you want to do is, your ACU is in this reclaim field, and reclaiming those wrecks way more valuable compared to in your base where it's only 2 engineers. Here it is 2 engineers, but also the 12,000 HP. And now you see you're splitting the build power quite heavily. You have 1 engineer building power, 1 engineer building a factory, your ACU building also 1 factory. Keep them all together. Like you can easily have an ACU and 3 engineers assisted. That's way faster in your scaling. Because those 2 factories would have been already a factory which is built. And now we see to start that this early scaling of not assisting your ACU starts to make problems. Because if we look at the total tank count, you have 12 and he has 16. He has already 25% more tanks compared to you. And yeah, now we see also the problem of you have so many maxes and so much reclaim and you only have 1 engineer factory. There's no way you can spend your resources at any time. Because you don't have the build power to spend all that. And you're starting Tech 2 maxes. Usually you should start Tech 2 maxes when you have 50% of the map conquered. So all of this should be secure and then you can start Tech 2 maxes. This is too early. You should stay now and focus everything into units instead of Tech 2 maxes. Especially when you're already behind in units. Yeah, and you should adjust this ready point. And also this early scout would be really helpful if you just have it patrolling somewhere, because you don't want to spot like the base or the factory count. You can do that, but that isn't really the task of the first scout. The task of the first scout is to fly around and give you intel about incoming units. And then you can you can prevent a raid, because if some tanks want to go here, you already have a scout here and it can spot it, and then you can move your tanks. If he moves his tanks now in this current situation, they are here and shooting at your maxes.